Trump's sudden strike on Iran, a diplomatic betrayal or prelude to World War III. A pivotal betrayal, from dialogue to devastation. In a move that stunned the international community, President Donald Trump, after issuing a 2-week ultimatum inviting Iran to return to diplomatic talks, launched precision strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities before the deadline expired. This abrupt reversal is already being labeled a betrayal of diplomacy, a decision that could have seismic repercussions not only for the Middle East, but for global peace as a whole. Many observers now fear that this could be the spark that escalates into a global conflict, possibly even World War III. The world is watching closely, and the stakes have never been higher. The context: 2 weeks to talk. Just days ago, President Trump's tone was markedly different. At a press briefing in Washington, D.C., he warned Iran that time was running out, but promised a diplomatic solution if Iran agreed to stop escalating tensions and return to the negotiation table over its nuclear ambitions and support for regional proxy militias. Iran, while cautious, did not reject the proposal outright. Tehran's official response was that it would consult with its allies and consider participation in indirect talks. European intermediaries, including France and Switzerland, began laying the groundwork for a dialogue. But then, the strikes came. The attack, unilateral, unexpected, unforgiving. In the early hours of Sunday, multiple Israeli and U.S. drones and aircraft bombarded key nuclear research facilities in Natanz and Fordow, along with missile development sites in Isfahan. The strikes were devastating. Initial satellite images confirmed large-scale destruction of Iran's centrifuge halls and missile silos. White House officials claimed the operation was necessary to neutralize imminent threats, pointing to new intelligence suggesting that Iran was days away from weaponizing enriched uranium. But critics say the intelligence was neither shared with allies nor debated publicly, bypassing both Congress and the United Nations. This wasn't preemptive defense. It was an ambush disguised as diplomacy, said former U.S. Ambassador to the UN, Samantha Power. Betrayal of diplomacy, a strategic miscalculation. The psychological impact of President Trump's reversal is profound. 1. International trust eroded. Global powers such as China, Russia, and even the European Union are now more skeptical of U.S. diplomacy under Trump. Trust is a cornerstone of global negotiations. When that is shattered, diplomacy becomes a hollow exercise. 2. Legitimizing hardliners in Iran. The attack strengthens the narrative of Iran's ultra-conservative elements. The West cannot be trusted. President Ebrahim Raisi's death in 2024 had created room for moderate factions to emerge. That space is now closed. 3. Empowering anti-American proxies. Iran's allies across Lebanon, Hezbollah, Iraq, Kataib Hezbollah, Syria, and Yemen, Houthis, are now preparing for retaliatory strikes. Already, rocket attacks have increased against U.S. bases in Iraq and Syria. How Iran's supporters are reacting. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, has called the strikes an act of criminal aggression, declaring national mourning and calling for strategic revenge. The Iranian populace, including many who were previously protesting government policies, have rallied around the flag. Anti-American protests have erupted in Tehran, and Mashhad, as well as in Shia-majority areas of Iraq and Lebanon. Reactions from key Iran allies, Hezbollah's Secretary General, Hassan Nasrallah: America will regret what it has ignited. Our response will shake Tel Aviv. Russian Foreign Ministry: the U.S. has acted with reckless disregard for peace. Escalation must stop. China called for restraint but emphasized grave concern over unilateral military action. Is this the start of World War III? While World War III is not yet a certainty, this moment ticks many dangerous boxes. Risk factor. Statist nuclear state directly involved. Checkmark Iran, Potential capability, superpower confrontation checkmark US, Russia, China regional proxy flare-ups checkmark ongoing in Syria, Lebanon collapse of diplomacy checkmark no clear peace pathway global economic impact. Checkmark oil prices soaring, markets unstable. Economic fallout already underway. Global oil prices surged by over 20% within 24 hours. Stock markets across Asia and Europe opened to major losses. Airlines have begun cancelling flights over Iranian and Israeli airspace. Supply chains for technology and energy are being disrupted. In this environment of uncertainty, businesses are retreating, investors are nervous, and nations are bracing for fallout, economically and militarily. What happens next? Short-term scenarios: retaliatory strikes by Iran on US and Israeli assets. Cyber warfare escalation: Iran is believed to be capable of large-scale attacks on US infrastructure. Mass mobilization of regional militias against Western interests. Long-term implications: erosion of US credibility in international diplomacy. Rise of anti-Western coalitions across Asia and Africa. Strengthening of Russia-China-Iran axis. The death of two-state diplomacy in the Middle East. Final thought: the fragility of peace. This moment in history may well be remembered as a turning point, not because war began, but because peace was deliberately abandoned. In bypassing diplomacy and launching a preemptive strike, President Trump has not only ignited a new phase of conflict with Iran, he has potentially triggered a global chain reaction with unpredictable and irreversible consequences. War begins when diplomacy fails, but betrayal of diplomacy is worse: it destroys the very language of peace. The world is no longer asking if something worse is coming, but when and how far it will go. Loudspeaker: stay informed. Follow WorldWire News for the latest verified updates on global conflict, diplomacy, and political affairs.